Hi, welcome everybody. Today we're looking at operations with integers. That's from section 0.3, and you can look at that in your book as well. Learning targets today, there are two of them. First is I can add and subtract integers correctly. Second one is I can multiply and divide integers correctly. And here the key thing is we're talking about both positive and negative numbers. I want you to be confident whether there's a positive or negative number involved, and hopefully some of this will help with that today. So looking at rules for addition. So you're going to be adding two integers together. Remember, integers again can be negative or positive numbers. They're going to be whole numbers, and they might be positive or they might have a negative sign in front of them as well. So first, if both numbers are positive, your result is always going to add up to be positive. There's some examples here on the right you can look at as well. If both numbers are going to negative, then the result is always going to be negative when you're adding them together. If you have one positive and one negative number that you're adding together, the greatest absolute value will determine the result. So if the absolute value of the negative number is the largest, your number will end up being negative. If the absolute value of the positive number is the largest, your answer will end up being positive. And again, I have some examples here on the right hand side. Now let's look at something that might help you picture it for subtraction when you get the negative signs involved, something that might help you be able to work with this. So when you're subtracting integers, think of the first number as a starting point. So if you're on a number line here and you're going to be subtracting the integers, let's say that the first number in the first case is a 2. So we would be, say, starting right here. And then if we're going to subtract a negative 3, it says here, I move to the right if the second number is negative. So if I'm subtracting a negative number, I'm going to move to the right 3 places. So I would go 3, 4, 5, and then my answer would be right here at 5. So this says that 2 minus a negative 3 is 5. We would go 3 to the right. Okay, now let's look at the second case. If it says 4 minus 3 is 1, it says again start at the starting point. So if our first number here is 4, and it says we're subtracting 3, so we're subtracting a positive number here of 3. So I would move over 3 places to the left, and that would mean that my answer here would be 1. You can do this with any numbers. You can create your own number line in a matter of a few seconds. So that's one key you can use if you get twisted up on which direction to go. So if you're subtracting a negative number, it's like adding. You're going to move to the right on the number line. And if you're subtracting a positive number, you're just simply subtracting, and you'd be moving to the left on the number line. So that's how we can get through with addition and subtraction. And now let's look at what we can do for multiplication. Here's just a little trick that should be able to help you out. So rules for multiplication, if you have both positive, your result is going to be positive. So you multiply two positive ones together, you get a positive result. An example here, 3 times 5 is 15. If the numbers are both negative, you're also going to get a positive result. Negative 3 times negative 5 is a positive 15. And if you have one of each, you're going to get a negative result. So if you have, say, the 3 is positive and the 5 is negative, multiply them together, you get a negative 15. If it was reversed and you had a negative 3 and a positive 5, when you multiplied those together, they would also equal negative 15. So one thing that some people like is this triangle. If you think of it this way, if you have a positive and you multiply it by a negative, your result will be negative. If, for example, you started with a negative and you multiplied by a positive, your result would be negative. If you took a negative times a negative, your result would be positive. So if you just word it that way, you can go to any 2 points on this triangle and figure out what your result should be in terms of whether it's positive or negative. So hopefully that'll be helpful there. And just want to make sure you know that for division, it works the same as well. Same rules for multiplication and division in terms of whether you get a positive or a negative result. Hopefully some of this will be helpful to you, and I'll look forward to any questions you have and look forward to seeing you in class soon. Thanks very much for listening. Take care.